Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Boy, Randy Corrigan here, longtime organizer, first-time radio show host. Here we go. We just got through the holidays, Frank. What do you think? How was it? Happy holidays to everybody listening. Frank's scrambling over there. He's kind of pushing buttons and stuff. I caught him by surprise.
We made it through. I got sick on Christmas Eve.
So many people did.
Something's going around. But I'm all better now. And luckily, I was feeling good on Christmas morning, so I was able to go downstairs and get the rest of my family sick. Apparently, so we ended up all getting it. But
it was your fault.
I think it was my niece was the first one, but
you got to blame somebody.
I got to blame somebody. It can't be me, right? Never take responsibility, right?
Yeah, holidays were. Obviously we played reruns for a couple weeks. So happy holidays to everybody. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. I forgot to say something before we broke the week before Christmas. I forgot to remind everybody Santa's a Teamster. Did you know that
Really?
Santa was a Teamster, Frank?
I did not.
Yeah, Santa's a team. Think about it. He drives something, they're reindeer and, horses, truck, vehicle, delivering something all over the world, right? That's a Teamster.
Yeah.
Actually, it's one of our favorite logos around Christmas. And actually, hopefully someone listening will remind me next year's. We got to get T-shirts made at the local that Santa's a Teamster. And there's a lot of, I've seen great Santa's a Teamster T-shirts over my career, and I've forgotten to do that here recently, and hopefully someone reminds me next year to make sure we get those out. There's cool bumper stickers, but just think about it. He's delivering packages for a bunch of people.
Well, thank you, Santa.
Yeah, he's a Teamster. So hopefully everybody had a great holiday. It's been a couple weeks since I've done a show. Hopefully some of you listen to the reruns. If not, I get it. I understand. But we got an exciting show today. I got some news to report on. I've got a really good Teamster Advantage partners, not just a Teamster Advantage partner. On one level, the organization also helps us with a lot of voluntary benefits wrapped around our members. Hopefully she's going to be able to tell some pretty good stories about that partnership and how fruitful that partnership is and how much it benefits the community and everything around us. But as always, I'd like to start off the show by talking about 3 Teamster jobs because we want to make sure we thank a Teamster. And don't forget, this is KCAA 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Those 3 Teamster jobs, shout out to Carlos Gonzalez. He usually does a pretty good job of propping these up for me and reminding me of these jobs. And this first one's really, really cool. I don't know if y'all go to Baker's here in the Inland Empire, but if you go to Baker's and you get spicy ketchup, Teamsters make that spicy ketchup. Most of your restaurant condiments if you go to these fast food places, you go to restaurants, you go into and say you're going to go to dinner somewhere and they've got condiments on the table, ketchup, different brands of ketchup, Thousand Island type dressings, spicy ketchups and all that good stuff. Teamsters produce that. Actually in the production facilities. Most of those Teamsters are Teamsters out of Teamsters Local 630 in Ontario, California. There's a facility there that produces lots of different stuff in that space. And so next time you're at a restaurant, next time you go to Baker's specifically, and you think about, and you get that spicy ketchup, a Teamster, thank that Teamster. Maybe not the person at Baker's, but in your head, thank a Teamster for making sure that spicy ketchup was good there and make sure it was produced. That is also a reminder that when you go to a restaurant, almost all of the restaurant supply that comes into the restaurants, let's say your food service first, those are all Teamsters, U.S. Foods, Cisco, a number of other companies. Primarily U.S. Foods and Cisco are the two biggest ones. And so they bring in the food. They usually have, all your chicken and your meats, and they work out a deal with whoever the company is. They have products themselves, and then they have some products that are made specifically for some of the larger chains. But those are Teamsters not only that deliver it, but those are Teamsters that handle it in the warehouse. And in a lot of cases, there are Teamsters that are actually producing the product itself before it gets to the distribution network. So a lot of your restaurant supplies, just on the food side, and also the chairs you sit in a restaurant. There's a number of companies who represent Teamsters, produce that and or distribute it and handle it and make sure it's delivered. Your knives and your forks. One of the little local companies around here called Edward Don. Next time you're looking at a restaurant, look at the knives and the forks. You always see a name on it. I always look to see if it's one of our members, like from Edward Don or any of the companies. So Teamsters make sure that you have all that stuff, as well as in the back of the store, the restaurant, making sure that there's refrigerators, your ice machines, sinks, all that stuff. Restaurant supply companies. A lot of those restaurant supply companies are Teamsters, and that again. Thank a Teamster. They're making sure that you can go out to eat and have a good meal with your family. The next one, Santa Anita. Santa Anita Racetrack. We represent a lot of members at Santa Anita Racetrack. The maintenance, a lot of the maintenance of equipment at the facility, and the ones that take care of the horses, which is so appropriate for us, right? Think about it. You look at our logo. The horses are still on our logo 100 years later. Here we are, still caring for horses. And, the Clydesdales. And for Budweiser, I know this is not on my list, but speaking of caring for horses, those are all Teamsters that actually handle the Clydesdale horses wherever they are housed, wherever they're transported to. It's a Teamster that drives them, and there are Teamsters that handle them and make sure that they're taken care of. Right? I don't know if anybody's ever seen those Clydesdales in person, but oh my God, they're massive. Kind of scary, such a big animal like that. And then the last one is so appropriate for the holiday season. Your spirits, wine, beer, most of anything you drink in Southern California, if it's beer, if it's wine, if it's some sort of mixer and stuff like a lot of your alcohol products are Teamsters that make it, Teamsters that brew it, Teamsters that handle it, Teamsters that deliver it to the locations, that obviously serve it up. And so, next time you're getting let's say you're getting a Bud Light or a Miller Lite or whatever at a bar, your favorite watering hole, that you think about a Teamster. Thank the Teamster that made sure that it was there. It's amazing how we touch every part of society, how we touch every part of your day. A lot of times people just don't realize that everywhere you look, there's a union member that's making sure that something got there. And so we just want to really, take into, we really want to pay attention and thank those Teamsters for doing it. Was it a surprise to you, Frank, for you to hear about Santa Anita? Yeah, it just keeps surprising him. He puts his headphones down.
That was a surprise to me. That was pretty cool to hear that they help take care of the horses. And I didn't.
Did you have any beer or anything over the holidays?
I don't drink actually, but
okay. You can have non-alcoholic stuff. We do that too. But we do the soda. How's that? Did you have a soda?
I had a Pepsi earlier today.
Yeah, well, there you go. Teamsters made sure it was produced here. We don't actually deliver it in the Inland Empire, but we actually handle the distribution of it on the warehouse side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the part of the production, a piece of the production.
Awesome.
Yeah, interesting, yeah. All right, well, let's move on to our next spot of the hour, and that is current labor news. Tesla. I don't know if anybody's been reading up on Tesla is deciding to lock horns in Sweden. That's not too smart. All those Nordics, they're crazy labor folks up there. They're really, really, doing a good job of kind of banding together. 10 unions collectively are pressuring the company for better wages and benefits. There's no joke. Tesla really stood up itself in America. I know America prides itself on being the greatest, but when it comes to labor unions, the European countries are they're much better than us at this. Much higher union density, and they have a tendency to smash pretty good on corporations when they act like Elon Musk does. And the larger issue here is Tesla has resisted unionization efforts in Germany, where the bulk of its nearly 130,000 employees are, the U.S. and Germany. And essentially, Sweden's just not going to take it. They're creating solidarity amongst all the Nordic unions, and they want to make sure that Tesla pays attention to and the Swedish Industrial Union of IF Metal, which sought a collective bargaining agreement to provide better wages and benefits for mechanics in the Tesla repair shops. You're locking horns with them. You know what? When you get them all getting together, guess what's going to happen? Tesla's going to, I guess Elon's ranting and some of the ridiculous stuff that he does on whatever social media platform he's on doesn't convince workers there. The union's members in Sweden have been on strike since the 27th of October, and the Swedish union, supported by their counterparts in Norway, Denmark, and Finland. Now what's going to happen is you got other unions in other countries closely knit around them that are going to start applying pressure as well. And Tesla better watch out. There's some important points here is that the collective bargaining in Nordic, that model in which they have, the conflict centers around the Nordic labor model market, which relies heavily on collective bargaining rather than legislation. And so they're really forced to be in the collective bargaining space because, quite frankly, legislators shouldn't be deciding this stuff. It should be union workers that are deciding how they're impacted by the labor market. And so about 90% of Sweden's workforce is covered by a union contract. And so the system there, corporations like Tesla are trying to work around that. And at the end of the day, that's not going to work very well for them. The next, couple other points I think that should be made is that the financial markets are reacting to Musk's, it's kind of hard to say, to Elon's stance. Early on, he was, like a pioneer and a visionary. And, what happens, I guess, when people get so much money and they get so much control, they just start to lose their mind. Frank, what the hell happened to this guy?
I used to be a big Elon fan, and I slowly have had to accept that I'm not a huge fan anymore. So I love rockets and space, and he's the SpaceX. But I still love SpaceX. There are a lot of people besides Elon that work there that do amazing work, and they deserve good wages, obviously. And I don't know, which areas, if any, are unionized or anything. But
well, it's interesting
some of the
about
things he says are very questionable, and
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I've had to kind of take a step back as his number one fan there.
What's interesting is his anti-union stance on unions and the kind of the rhetoric he spits out. It's so ignorant in the space of, let's use SpaceX. Mm-hmm. Union workers over the last 50 years are the ones that have made sure that very dangerous industry of putting people on a flammable rocket that is going to fly into outer space, yet you don't blow up. And, there's incredible safety measures that have been dealt with there in that space over the last 60 years since the space program really got off the ground in the 60s, right? Mm-hmm. And those were union workers in this space for the last 60 years. And all of the regulatory factors, all of the work that was done, all the safety measures, all of that extensive amount of work done in that industry, clearly done by union workers to give him a platform to then jump in the 2000s and then to work basically off the backs of their work. And so he should be a little less likely to beat up on those that really paved the way for this industry.
But he needs his billions of dollars. How else is he going to get his billions of dollars?
I don't know. At a certain point, like, what do you do with that much money?
I don't know. Buy Twitter.
Yeah,
Ruin
I
it.
guess buy Twitter and lose a whole bunch of money. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's ridiculous. It's sad, but
It's crazy. All right, let me move on. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, KCAA's 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. The next one is in Alabama. We have a union effort for UAW on the Mercedes-Benz plant. Ironically, Mercedes-Benz in Germany is 100% union. It gets here to the United States, and guess what? We want to operate non-union. We want to exploit workers. Of course, in the South, which is where workers typically get exploited more than anywhere else for whatever reason, the Southern regulators and elected officials can't recognize the fact that they shouldn't be exploiting workers in the South. They actually shouldn't be exploiting workers anywhere. But the workers there are organizing right now. I think it's significant. Couple of the reasons why they're doing it. This is a plant of 6,300 workers, manufacturers of SUVs, the GLE, the GLE Coupe, the GLS series, the Mercedes Maybach. I mean, these are high dollar, $150,000 vehicles. Apparently the company getting 200% profits over the last 2 years and creating this huge disparity with the workforce. Workers are fed up. They're organizing, and congratulations to them. It's really good to see them moving in that direction. And then this last point of current news is these Amazon workers that has been all over the news today. Senator Murphy, 24 Democrats and 3 Republican senators signed on a letter to Amazon demanding Amazon deal with their exploitive practices when it comes to these delivery drivers. You've heard me say it before on here that even though a delivery driver at Amazon looks like he works for Amazon or she, and they have a Amazon uniform and an Amazon truck and an Amazon equipment and Amazon this and Amazon that, they actually don't work for Amazon, according to Amazon. We claim that they do work for Amazon because Amazon has so much control. And what this letter does is this letter actually, and the Republicans that signed on were Josh Hawley and J.D. Vance and Roger Marshall, and there's many more to come because it just started the last couple days. So in just a couple days to get 27 senators to sign on and to have those workers in D.C. actually the last couple days one-on-one speaking with each of those senators, those U.S. senators, explaining to them the circumstances and the situations they were in. Many of you, if you're interested in this, following it, look up Chris Murphy. He's out of Connecticut. He's a senator from Connecticut. He just did like a 5-minute video a few days ago, or actually a couple weeks ago, on laying out exactly what Amazon is doing wrong and why Amazon needs to correct its model and change its model. And ironically, Amazon's their response to the inquiry is the company defends its use of DSPs, claiming substantial investment in training and welfare of subcontracted drivers. That's about all they can say. Of course, they keep denying that they are not their drivers, but that the legal process is working its way out. And obviously, this whole battle is over control over the workforce, and Amazon wants to have control over them, but say they're not our employees. And as a matter of fact, if you listen to a previous show, we had one of those drivers on via, through the radio. They called in and talked about their individual circumstances and situations. And, it's just crazy that Amazon claims that they're not their employees, but there's a legal challenge out right now on joint employer status, and we can clearly see, I've been doing this job for over 30 years, and it's actually the most control I've ever seen over a company. I happen to be the guy that's in charge of this stuff nationally. I got 5 minutes, right, Frank? Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to roll to break a little quicker. I'm not going to do it right this moment, but I'm going to roll just a little bit quicker, not right on the time, because apparently I have the ability to do that. I'm learning this talk show stuff. It's kind of cool. So I'm having a lot of fun. During the break, I actually talked to a lot of people about things they liked and they heard, and I've sent out, hey, what would you like to hear on the show? And what was cool is what I got the most feedback on was two things: is talking more about Amazon, which I can talk about Amazon all day, and the other was hearing more from the Teamster Advantage partners. And so as a result of that, what I'm going to try to do is try to have a Teamster Advantage partner on every single week, even if it's for a short period of time, even if it's just for 5 or so minutes. Now, we're going to have VBS on here for a little bit longer than that because they actually are integrated into other parts of our organization. But what we'll do is we'll go to break here. It's the Worker Power Hour. This is Randy Corrigan, longtime organizer, first-time radio show host. This is the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. See you on the other side of the break.
Are you looking for a good union job? The Inland Empire's 14,000 member strong Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get working people trained and placed in open positions in public service clerical work and in jobs in the logistics industry. This is a new opportunity to advance your career and raise standards across the region. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
KCAA Loma Linda. The Legacy KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.
Are you graduating high school soon and wondering what to do next? College is one option, but why not consider the high-paying jobs made possible by Union Power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
Labor unions built the middle class, and the middle class built America. That's the message from Teamsters Local 1932, a strong and successful labor union based in San Bernardino that represents over 14,000 hardworking people across the Inland Empire. The Teamsters are ready to help you organize for better pay, increased benefits, and improved working conditions. Reach out to Teamsters 1932 at teamsters1932.org/organize to speak with an organizer today.
Welcome back to the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. We're back here. We have a guest with us. We have a Teamster Advantage partner. We have Megan Barrich with us with VBS. We really appreciate you coming on. What I'd like to do is, instead of stealing the show here and continuing to talk, people get to hear me talk all the time. Why don't you introduce yourself and what your business is here in the city of Redlands?
Thank you so much, Randy. Thank you for having me on. And it's totally fine. You can steal the show. I don't usually need to talk that much. But so I have been doing insurance for 16 years in Redlands, group health, small, large groups, and individual. And then about 7 years ago, I started a company, and I got more into these supplemental-based products. So disability, critical illness, cancer, accident, things like that. I got into that space because how I looked at it is that these are products that are very underrated. They're things that people do need. And so we started kind of pushing to brokers and, pushing out into the community on these, how important these products are. We all know we need health insurance. We all know we need dental, vision, but insuring your paycheck is a huge thing I'm very passionate about. So that's kind of where we started from there. So I've been doing that for 7 years. I started VBS Insurance Agency, I believe 7 or 8 years ago. And we kind of been moving along since then.
Yeah, I mean, give me just a real quick example. What does a supplemental benefit look like for people that aren't aware of it?
Okay. Yeah. So let's do disability. Disability insurance.
I'm disabled. Yeah,
a little bit, right?
Right.
Just a little.
A lot of times, right.
So disability insurance is a supplemental benefit that you do purchase, usually on a voluntary basis. It's run normally through groups, so businesses will sponsor these plans. And if something happens, should you go out for a mental illness, for you broke something, a car accident, God forbid, cancer, anything like that, we supplement your income. So when they go out, we call, you have an elimination period. You're off for 7 days. On the 8th day.
So how much would that roughly, just, I know everybody's different, but like how much does somebody pay to have that insurance?
So you're looking anywhere from, say, $15 a month up to maybe $48, $50
a month.
A month.
So that small amount would insure the rest of a substantial part of the rest of your paycheck.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So supplementing either what state disability doesn't do, or in instances of the Teamsters, since you don't pay in, to supplement what MetLife does not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is important stuff, and I'll explain to you why. Over the course of my career, I've represented workers that get hurt, go off of work, and then they make good money, but when they're disabled, they're not making the same amount of money, and a lot of times they rush back to work. And so that rushing of back to work actually negatively affects someone's health. If they're not completely healthy when they get back to work, they're always making an economic decision to do it. And so a lot of times we're usually trying to bargain something in this space to try to make sure that when individuals have to take time off of work, that when they come back, it's not because of a negative economic impact.
That is correct. And that's what happens. When you're stressing trying to get better, are you going to get better? No, you're most likely going to get worse. And the biggest thing is a financial hardship will be that first thing where you're like, you know what, it's okay. I'm just going to go back. I may not feel the best. And then the situation or the condition will get worse, and that could put you out even longer. So
on an economic level, do Teamsters get a better deal than non-Teamsters?
1,000%. Yeah. So the rate
1,000% better. So
1,000%.
It's 1,000% less.
Yeah. It is very, very crazy on how much we did save the Teamsters when we put in these group products. So, from prior insurances, I mean, we're talking 1.2 million.
I won't beat up on Colonial, but I won't say it.
Right. I wasn't going to
say it. My bad.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Oh, it was horrible. It was a horrible situation.
And, things happen, and I'm in the industry, so I will not talk negative on certain things, but I will say that Colonial was a lot higher, but when we came in and started...
In my perspective, they were completely overcharging these members. It was it was disturbing for me, and I really appreciate the work that your team did, because you went out there and built a program for us that brought down the same benefit significantly. Cut it in half, cut it by a third. Sometimes even it was 25%. The premium was cut down.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
yeah. I mean, when we did the rollover and we were talking to the members, they could not believe how much they were saving. We would break it down. So we would say what.
Some of them didn't even believe it. They thought it was not true, huh?
Correct.
Yep.
And we
I remember those calls.
Yep. But
Randy, this can't be true. You're okay. We got this. We bargained it ahead of time. You're all right.
But Randy, you have to think too, people don't like change,
yes.
Right? So, but all in all, it worked out. And when they really did see their paychecks had more that they could take home versus going to insurance, I think that really did help. And, it's guaranteed issue. So as we all know, a lot of us have pre-X's and things happen, and we shouldn't be denied for those services because of that.
And being a Teamster, guess what? They weren't subject to a lot of that. Is that correct?
Exactly. Guaranteed issue. Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who've never run into that problem, and hopefully you never do have to run into that problem, being in one of our plans, you get the guaranteed issue. You don't get just because you had some pre-existing condition.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. So how did we get connected? How did VBS and the Teamsters get connected?
So through the Teamster Advantage program,
I know Mark's sitting here. He's smiling.
I was going to mention you, Mark. Don't worry. I was going to mention you. So
and Mark, hopefully you sent your mom the link, because then she'll feel better that that I mentioned you. Mom, just letting you know I'm giving Mark props.
No, absolutely. So the Redlands Chamber of Commerce, which the Teamster Advantage is really involved in, I had a colleague there that I've done, another broker that I've done some things back and forth with. And Mark was looking around stating that, you guys were looking for someone to kind of change up some benefits.
I had assigned him, please go find someone who can do this. Like, this is crazy what that other insurance company was doing to us.
I know. And then ta-da, I came about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it worked out. But it really was the Advantage program going into the chamber, talking with people. And I will say the biggest thing is you guys were looking for small businesses too. You're very much, let's work with local brokers. Let's work with local people.
It's very easy for us as big as our organization is to pick up the phone and call one of the big outfits on our own. But what we always want to do is we want to start locally and make that connection like that. So we really appreciate the relationship and the partnership that was created. And so, to shift up here a little bit, how, how do you think the Teamster Advantage program helps Redlands and the community as a whole?
So I will say Redlands has been big about, maybe 10 years, maybe even more. We're very big on shop local. The problem with that is we weren't getting enough traction with it. And so with the Teamster Advantage program coming in, I really truly do believe you guys connected the dots for us.
And we kind of fired everybody else up behind it too, huh?
I don't know about that, but yeah. Like firing them up or firing them?
No, firing them up. In other words, we've got other people in the community to be more connected to shop local.
Absolutely. Yeah. And biggest thing, right? So small businesses.
We can't have the Teamsters doing that alone. We got to do this too.
Well, that could happen, you know. The biggest thing too is like these small businesses, you have to think they don't have all this money to advertise. That's a huge thing. Advertising is something, if that's digitally or if you're putting things in papers or if you're on, radio
And how much
shows.
do we charge you?
What, for the?
Yeah, how much do we charge you to advertise?
Nothing.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Everybody has a hard time answering it when
No,
I
it's
ask
nothing.
the question.
No, it's nothing. And the best part is, yes, they give a discount, and where people are going to shop when there's a discount. So you're bringing people into our local city, bringing up that revenue, and it's a win-win for everyone. You're getting a discount, you're shopping local, you're getting personal, you're getting out in the community. Let's put it that way too. State Street is great when you can go out and you can see people that you can run into. You're shopping local, you're not behind a computer going, okay, click here, click there. Not saying I've never done that, but you're going out and exactly, you're going out into the community and that's a big thing. So I think that the Teamster Advantage program really put what we were trying to do 10 years ago and really put it together full circle.
Good, yeah. And what I really, one of my favorite aspects of it is the app that sends us push notifications multiple times a day and just reminds us, hey, shop local, or there's this or there's that. And it's just a good reminder, at least to all that are connected, to thousands upon thousands of people that are connected to the app, that, hey, make sure you shop local. So even if you don't go out into Redlands and participate with your business, it's just a constant reminder to be paying attention to that before, going to the big W, Walmart, or, Amazon or whatever else it is. I get it. Sometimes people do all that, but if you pay attention and you try to focus on that first, it's really going to make a big difference for these small businesses.
Absolutely. And I think that it has. They're still in business. So
here's one of my favorite questions for you. I teed this one up and hopefully you're well prepared for it. What have you learned about unions since the partnership? I mean, has it really changed your perspective about unions?
Okay, how am I going to answer this without offending anyone? I did not have the best outlook on unions prior to. I didn't.
Well, you won't offend me. Right.
No, and let me.
Other people listening might be offended.
No,
right.
and I'm going to tell you why. I didn't know enough, right? So, what do we say? That ignorance. If you don't know something, you really can't judge it, right? Until you get all the information, you truly cannot judge how an organization works. I will point on the things that I have learned is how much time you guys put in to the community. And I'll start with more of your members. It's crazy to me, and I saw this a lot this last open enrollment period that we had, how many hours you guys put in to create a better work environment for these members. I was actually impressed. And when the contract dropped, I was like, how is this even possible? Like, and I really meant that. I'm like, I don't understand how they could go and get something that good. They spent all that time, all that energy for someone else. It really was something where we put others above self. And that's one thing I found in the union community is you guys are a family. You guys are loyal. You guys are a family. It's all about, helping others. And you don't see it very often. It's always on what's the profit? What can we do for ourselves? But you know what? Screw everyone else. And that comes down to.
Can we say that?
Oh,
Can we say
sorry.
that?
Oh.
We're good? Okay, Frank.
Oh,
Frank will
my
bleep you if you
Okay,
say something
perfect.
wrong.
No, I won't do that.
I'm actually pretty good for as foul mouth as I have. I haven't messed up yet.
You haven't been bleeped out. Well,
Right.
I forgot about that. So I mean, I'll watch
That's
that.
good.
on
That means
aspect,
that means you're just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely.
So I really appreciate you pointing these things out. So in other words, the negative narrative out there about unions is what you had been indoctrinated with, or it just kind of it's what your knowledge was. And now that you work closely with some people on the staff, and you work closely with the organization, and you work most importantly closely with these members, right, with union workers, helping them every single day, and with the supplemental benefits and all the other things. Like, what really stands out to you in that, and what you've learned, and the contrast, and why the general public has got the wrong view?
I think the general public has a wrong view because it's always like, oh no, unions are out to get the employer. They're not looking. We
want the employer to do okay.
Right.
Because they need to have a job.
But okay, let's go on the flip side. You guys are starting local businesses, right? Those are employers doing local
true, good point.
businesses. So you have that both sides of things, but people have to understand the working class, the workers, if it wasn't for those workers, would the employers actually have that? Are they going to go out and do those jobs? They're not. So the fact that when we talk to your members, right, 1932 members, and they talk about, oh my gosh, I'm so big for the union. They've done so much. You have die-hard members there. And I honestly thought I wouldn't have seen that. It would be like a normal thing. This is what we're a part of. This is what you do. You become a union member.
A transactional relationship.
Exactly.
Versus it being embedded in something bigger.
Exactly. Yeah. And these members are in awe of what they get. I mean, we have people, we'll go out, and there's people that are not 1932 members, and I hear it all the time with the business agents. They want to be 1932 members. You guys do an exceptional job.
And we want
with
them
that.
to be our members too.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
What stands out to you? Do you have a story or two? What are things? Obviously you're in the healthcare industry, and you understand the challenges of this industry, and that the average person doesn't understand that.
Right.
What are what have you learned unions' roles are in this space when it comes to healthcare?
So my biggest thing with health insurance, correct? Healthcare and health insurance. So doing individual currently still, I have a lot of people who come into my office who, once I quote them, they see the price, they go, I will call you when I'm 65.
Yep.
So retirement,
crazy.
It's so bad. It's almost gotten to the point where I don't enjoy the individual side of health insurance anymore, because you're constantly giving something that's
what the individual side means is when somebody is coming in
Correct.
on the open market and saying, hey, I just, I'm an independent business owner.
Correct.
Or whatever it is that I am, I need health care. That's individual. And there's a difference between individual and group. Group is something that we do, clearly, because we got a big group of people.
Correct. So someone leaving a group plan, let's kind of start there. Someone leaving a group plan has an option to COBRA, right, where they can continue their group plan, but paid at 100%, so it is still high. Put it this way, I have never encouraged people to take COBRA more in the last 5-6 years than I do. Literally, I tell them take the COBRA, because the individual, if I go and shop it out in the individual market, directly to Blue Shield, directly to Kaiser, they are going to pay 20% more.
At least.
And
you get into the better plans, it gets even higher. Correct?
Exactly. It would be a mortgage.
And so how about retirement vehicles and stuff like that? What have you viewed as far as, because what happens is the older people get, the more they need health care. And I find it ironic As a matter of fact, somebody had suggested for me to do a show on retiree healthcare and why there has been this movement. It's corporate America that's done it, but there's movement to kind of eliminate retiree healthcare or early retirement healthcare or good supplemental benefits around Medicare. So not just pre-65. Some may say, why would you can't retire till 65? Well, I'm sorry, if you're a union member, most union members can retire prior to 65 because we've bargained some early retirement program. Because think about it, you go to work somewhere at 18 years old. If you work, let's say 30 years, let's say you work 40 years, you're 58. 40 years you've worked for a company. A lot of times, let's say in the Inland Empire, you've worked in a warehouse, you've worked as driving a vehicle, or you've worked in some manufacturing or something that's heavy. It's beat up your body. It's physically taken a toll on you. And you absolutely should have a early retirement vehicle because the company has benefited from your individual person kind of taking a beating over that time. So then they get later on in life and people want to argue, oh, we shouldn't have early retirement benefit or we shouldn't have a retiree medical coverage. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. Actually, as soon as you're done, we're going to talk a little bit more and I'm going to transition into the importance of retiree medical and why unions are the ones that obviously brought it into the space, are arguing for it to be in this space. But what is your view on that, and what have you learned in the last few years on that subject?
So that is actually one thing I learned going into working with the union is I actually had no clue that unions could even implement something like that. I really did think that it was something that you signed in your contract for when you retired with a larger company. Obviously, if it's smaller, you don't have it. So me personally is my most favorite thing that this union has done because I'm on that side to where I see that there is no way
someone at 60 or 62 or 63 trying to find benefits prior to Medicare.
Exactly. It's almost impossible. It really is almost impossible. They will take the extra 2 years, and why should someone have to wait to retire when they've worked so hard? Why not enjoy retirement? Enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Yeah, it's crazy. How that is really, I got Mark over here flagging me on the Worker Power Hour. It's the Worker Power Hour, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. So he keeps making sure, hey, Randy, you got to say this. Anyway, but yeah, the retiree medical, corporations to win this, to win, essentially what I mean by that is to make it sound like it's a bad thing and to take a position to not pay for it. So then as the larger corporations don't do it, then clearly smaller businesses can't because of competitive disadvantage. And then now it's priced itself, what some would say, out of the market. Mm-hmm. And we have to bring this back. And that's obviously what we do in the union is we make sure when we're bargaining that's one of the subjects that we bargain for and we talk about. And you've actually been helping with our benefits long enough to see the transformation. In other words, to see prior to having a retiree medical component to now having a retiree medical component. And so you get two contrasts. Mm-hmm. You get a contrast of being a union member, of going from having it to not having it to having it. And then you see another contrast of a union member having it and then a non-union member not having it. What do you got to say about that?
It's completely, it would be a night and day thing. You have this, you did the retirement kind of launching the retiree program and things like that. And hearing these members get up and say, I am so, and sharing what they're going to do. That was, I think, the best part for me, right? We're going to go, I'm going to spend.
You were at the event we had, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Correct. So hearing their stories, it warmed my heart because I'm sitting here going, wow, you would not have been able to do this without this. You wouldn't have.
So think about all these people that are listening or future people that may listen to this show. And they're, driving or working in a warehouse, they're non-union, and they're thinking, what do you mean retiree healthcare? Like I've never even heard that phrase.
No.
Coming from the insurance industry, how important is it somewhere between the age of 55 and 65?
It's probably, I think, one of the most important things.
It is the most important thing in my mind besides food.
Correct, because that's what it comes down to. Do I take my health insurance or do I eat? On some cases, there are a lot of people who are on such tight incomes that that's what they do. And a lot of them, I will say, will go without health insurance. And that's a whole different rabbit hole.
So let's back up to that one. You said someone comes in, buys an individual plan, they look at the cost, and they're kind of looking at going, okay, they're making an economic decision now on their future health, correct?
Correct.
And so what they do is they go, okay, well, this plan costs this plan costs that, and I'm going to take the lower cost plan on the premium side, which usually turns into more costs where, Megan?
When they start using the plan.
Like?
Let's say someone goes with a bronze. That's the lowest, highest deductible that you can get. They go in to get lab work done. They're going to pay $230 for that, and that's at the negotiated rate.
Versus if you had a good group plan, and you're, let's say, a Teamster, you go in and
you're going to pay probably nothing on the plans you guys negotiate.
You should be in control of your own health care. You should be in control of your own retirement. We know what decisions people are going to make. That's why they should be union. They should have union contracts, and there should be a more stabilized environment around healthcare, because what happens is they choose the cheaper plan, and then what happens is they run into an economic catastrophe when something happens. It isn't like if you need a different car, you just go down to the dealership and buy a new car that day. If I get hurt and I don't have good insurance, and then I go into the hospital, I can't pick up the phone and say, hey, up my insurance.
No.
Matter of fact, you literally can't do that, correct?
Not at all. That would be like getting in a car accident, right, and saying, I need it to change.
Well, but that happens all the time. They actually look at you and say, oh, does this person have health care? And then they may reroute you somewhere else, right?
No.
No, if you get in a car accident and if you don't have health care versus it's going to...
Oh, yeah, then
the
they'll
ambulance
cover,
is going to decide where to go.
Exactly. That is different. Yes, you are right about that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is true.
Now, our members, by and large, don't... We got 10 minutes or 5? 7. Got it. Our members, by and large, don't experience this. Teamster members, union members don't experience what we're talking about right now, because most of that stuff is all bargained in the group plan, right?
Absolutely.
And so the average person on the average non-union worker is trying to figure it out. I can't count how many times I've had a worker that says, "Oh, my company provides me great health care," and the first thing I tell them is, "Give me the SPD." And for those who don't know what SPD is, it's a summary plan description. Yeah. And they give me the SPD, and I look at the SPD, and I go, "Oh boy, well, have you ever had this happen, that happen, this happen, that happen?" They go, No. I said, "Well, now you've never tested your insurance, so you don't know." And what you did is you actually bought bargain, or your employer is providing bargain basement sort of benefits. And what we do in the union is when we're bargaining is we can't always do the top premium, best of everything, but man, we always try to keep it up in that top tier. And it's hard because it's very expensive to keep it up in that top tier, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And you're in an industry where you actually get to see a direct contrast.
Oh, 100%. I mean, going to the new hire orientations, really getting more into your medical plan, the medical trust plan. The first time I looked at it, I went, what? I'm looking and I'm going, this is seriously I haven't seen a plan like this, and I couldn't tell you how long, because I'm so used to just...
How much do you think a plan like that would cost if somebody came in on an individual?
If they offered it, you're looking at, well, give me an age. Give me an age. Just throw out an age for me.
I don't know. 35. Somebody 35 years old. Sometimes they're on the cusp. Sometimes they realize they need health care. Sometimes they don't. It's actually in my opinion, it's a good age to use.
Okay, so 35, if for a plan that would mimic the plan you have, you're looking at about $600-700 for a 35-year-old.
Wow. I got 5 minutes. All right. All right. So anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
So Teamster Advantage Partner, the reason why we took a little bit more time here with VBS and Megan is you're not just a Teamster Advantage Partner and you actually provide a business in the area. That relationship then turned into helping us with our voluntary benefits that we have connected in a group setting, that our members that participate and are connected to the Teamster network get a significantly reduced rate compared to everybody else. Is there anything you want to say on that before I move on to the last part of my show?
I do, actually. I want to say kind of I really, and I'm not trying to throw out numbers on that, but we're talking a discount of first year savings, $1.2 million of a savings. being a part of the team.
You can say that again. We saved them over $1.2 million. That's correct.
Yeah, correct. $1.2 million out of all the products. That was the savings that we have. And if you look over all the years, it's been higher than that because, we can negotiate that down. Again, I will say it again, the good underwriting. But the biggest thing is the stories that I have for dealing with, and friendships I've created with your members. With those situations when someone's in that tough spot and you can go and you can give them something and it's affordable, right? Because it wasn't affordable before. People did it because they knew they had to have it. But having that affordability, and when someone tells you, thank you so much because I could have lost my house, or I could have, my kids wouldn't have been able to eat because we have these other bills, or it's, put a roof over my head, or, feed my kids. And that does happen. And people I don't think understand that. And I will say, number one reason this is probably one of my most favorite accounts is you guys care. You guys have positivity out there. You care about your people and you want them to do the best and be the best that they can. So I'm honored to be able to work with you guys.
Well, thank you for coming on, Megan. I really appreciate the work you and VBS, Barrett and Associates, that you guys do collectively in the community as a small business, in addition to the partnership that you have helping our thousands of members through all these situations literally on a daily basis. And so we really appreciate that relationship, and we really appreciate you coming on today. I think I got 2 minutes left. Is that correct? I got 2 minutes. So I'll wrap up. First of all, I'd like to always close the show by asking, what can you do to build worker power? Worker power empowers the workers. And you're going to hear that over and over. You're actually going to see that on our billboards here pretty soon. We're going to be changing the design for 2024. May already have happened. I think I was texting and driving the last time I drove by the billboard, so I didn't look up and see what was on it. But we're really going to double down on the worker power message and the worker power hour. This is the Worker Power Hour at KCAA 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Closing with, how can you build worker power? Talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to a neighbor. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host, Randy Corrigan signing off.